familiar pain versus true safety. Now, this is a little bit of a hard pill to swallow, but many women confuse familiarity with safety, and familiar stress feels normal. What? Now, some of these things I have experienced. I'm just going to tell you, I have dealt with anxiety, and anxiety causes me to first have to recognize where I'm at, first of all, what's going on in my environment, and what can I do about it so I can make a decision. And once I start realizing certain things, I can get ahead of it. But it can no longer just be a normal feeling and have an expectation when it came to hard decisions. If I don't feel that anxiety first, you follow what I'm saying? Pain should never be normal, my friends. And then growth feels threatening. So when we want to grow from here, we have a difficult time taking that next step. Well, you can't stay where you are for periods of time throughout your life if it's not helping you, if it's not sustaining you, if it's not healthy. We always have to keep a check on our health. Emotional health is as important and as significant as your physical health. When we get physical annual checkups, how often do we check on our health, our emotional health? You're responsible for that. You're responsible for that. And then doing something about it when you know it's off, when it's not being regulated correctly. And true safety feels like and should feel like calm. That's what safety feels like. Clarity, choices. You should always have a choice. Choices are good. You should also always have options. Options are good. You should always feel calm. And if you don't feel calm, wait till you feel calm. Calm yourself. Because fear does not always mean stop. It means time to do something different. It doesn't necessarily mean stop. Just do something different. We can't wait for fear all the time. Can't wait for stress. Can't wait for, feeling that the familiarity is when I'm feeling some kind of, pain or something. No, I will become calm first and decide second, right? Calm. Be at peace. Make a decision. So tip 3, intentional emotional authority. You are going to have intentional emotional authority because this is the thing. I don't want you to be disillusioned about this, but healing does not remove those emotions you may have had. It just revisits them differently now. This is going to be different. You're going to look at it differently. Is this fear speaking or wisdom? On the right-hand side, if you start at the clockwise and go down, guy at the top, it looks like, a little sad, a little disappointed maybe when it comes to money decision, not too sure. The next person, all right, looks a little angry, a little mean, like, you want to think about it, you want to talk about it. Next person just like he's having, he's crying, like he's having a breakdown of some sort. The other person is like, no, this is good. I'm head over heels about this. I feel good about where I'm at. I'm gonna make a wise wisdom decision. And the other one's just happy. So emotions are still gonna come up. They're just gonna be revisited differently, and you're gonna be an authority of them. You're gonna be able to pause before deciding. You're gonna identify the emotion you're experiencing, and you're gonna choose the new regulated response. You're not going to move out of just the past, that fear that shows up, the shame, the guilt. Then I'm not enough to maybe make the decision to get something. As far as it goes, when we talked about under receiving and then over giving and then having regrets later. No, 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 no. We're going to have new regulated ones. You're going to look at the decisions that you need to make and you're going to make it. Want versus need, solve the problem versus creating a bill, long-term benefits versus spontaneous ones, meets future goals versus only present conditions. You're going to make intentional decisions, not emotional ones. Nothing about fear no fear, intentional. You're in control. And what changes when healing happens is you. Those emotional wounds are addressed, and women often start experiencing confidence, increased confidence. We feel good about what we're saying, we feel good about what we're doing, clear boundaries, better decision making. Again, this transfers over into all areas of our lives. Money just happens to be the topic we're talking about this evening. Reduced anxiety, emotional stability. It's not a personality change, it's you becoming whole. And we have to realize whatever we're experiencing, we can always change it to become healthier and better. Nothing is permanent unless we do absolutely nothing about it. We are in control of making things better in our lives so we can have healthier lives. And if we don't work on the emotional side of who we are, all of us, as far as who we are, as far as the three-part being of who we are, body, soul, and spirit, all becomes out of alignment. So we want to make sure we address those areas because we learn what we live, and what we live, we become. But you can retrain your brain. You can retrain your brain how it thinks about things. I've done it. I do it. It's called compartmentalizing certain thoughts. And you reframe and replace so you can make healthier and better decisions. It's what I do. It helps you know you better in a healthier way, not just the negative emotional sides that we deal with that cause us to make decisions that we may often regret, especially when it comes to finances. And we wait or put ourselves on the back burner when it comes to doing things. So we want to be mindful of who we are and what we're worthy of and what we deserve. And I want to ask you, for those who might want to go deeper on this, because this is not a quick fix. This is something I shared with you. And I think in the beginning I mentioned, well, you should have maybe saw. I know there was a lot going on, but this is not a quick fix. This is an awareness. This is an awareness to some of the things that cause us to be stopped in our tracks when we need to make decisions about our lives. It's going to make us a better people, a healthier person, something we dream about and desire and want to do, but maybe not always sure how to go about it. For those who want to understand that in a deeper way, there's support for that. There's a way to understand how to move forward in our lives, and you don't always have to do it by yourselves. We can address emotional roots because that's where it starts. Everything we're seeing in our lives is a fruit of a root. Does that make sense? And I teach people that if you can identify the root, then we can change the fruit because we can plant something new. And we can then have the fruit of what we should have, that abundant life that we all want in all areas of our lives, whether it be our relationships, our families, our jobs, our homes, where we live, our communities, our finances, our health. If we can better all those areas, we all pretty much, I think, would shoot for that. So we have to understand why some of the decisions we make about those areas of our lives we make that may not be in the best interest for us. A place that honors your pace, provides clarity and guidance, and focuses on stability and healing. I talk a lot about healing because that's what it is. We're bringing ourselves to an emotionally place of health and wellness. It's my whole life mission.